right, I'm live. I hope. It's always interesting to find out if I've done everything that I need to do correctly and going live. So the chat is up. If you'd like to ask me any questions or tell me that you cannot hear me or you cannot see me, you're always welcome to chat and send me questions, comments, anything like that. So if you want to do that, feel free. They're in the chat. I should see them. You know, 50-year-old guy messing around with technology sometimes doesn't work out too well. So I do the best I can. And it's been a little while since I've been live. Actually, a long while. It's probably been a couple of months since I've been live. And I probably need to kind of update you on what's going on with me and what's going on with the channel. And so we're going to kind of get into that. Been having a few little health concerns. I was trying to lose some weight and exercising and injured myself. So, not only that, but work. Speaking of which, I need to put that up there. Work has been, I own several small companies, and work has been a lot of work here lately. May and June are a couple of my busiest months, so it was, I think I did go live in May, so it has been a little while, but I have been extremely busy. Been shooting videos and editing videos and got a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out. Well, you know, we put 2 out a week, so we may be dropping back to 1 a week very soon. We'll see how that goes based on my health and the things I've got going. But also, took a vacation. So my wife and my kids, we all loaded up in the family truckster and headed off to Colorado for a little while. It was in Denver for some time, and a little place called Glenwood Springs, Colorado. Had a good time there. And went to someplace I haven't been in years in Moab, Utah. If you haven't been to Moab, you need to go do that. Arches National Park, Canyonlands National Park. We had a really good time as a family, and so that's another thing that I was doing since I have not been live. I do these lives, you know, for people that want to see that I'm a real person, and that if they want to talk to me and ask me questions that I don't get to in the comments, although I try to get to all the comments. So if you ever have any questions or statements, a lot of people like to make statements about my bowling game. Feel free to do those in the comments of each of the videos, and I try to answer every single one of them. I usually answer at least the very first comment. If you make subsequent comments after that, sometimes I don't see them. So I fail occasionally. I go back and look through and see if I've missed anything. Sometimes it's, you know, maybe a couple of weeks late, but I try to respond to all the comments, all the questions, all the statements, good or negative, which I get plenty of negative comments as well. And then I have been bowling some. I have got a little injury in my right shoulder. It is not a bowling injury. Matter of fact, it doesn't hurt to bowl. It hurts to sleep is the biggest challenge. And so I've been trying to rehab that a little bit. I still have some rehab to go. I've gotten a shot in that shoulder. I'm waiting on a spinal cord doctor because I've got a few places in my spine that are narrowing, and it's causing some nerve pain down my arm. But it's not affecting my bowling. But I am taking a break from bowling right now. In the place where I live, we, on Monday and Tuesday nights, Monday at one center and Tuesday at another center, they have a sports shot tournament. So the local PBA professionals, and we've got quite a few in our area. We've even had some national pros come in and bowl some of these things. And so I have bowled several of those, and I've been doing very well. Been very surprised. They're handicapped, so battling the handicap has been my biggest challenge. We get not only the pros, but also, league bowlers that come in and try this thing. And so it's a sports shot handicap tournament, which I get 0 pins. 50 years old and I get 0 pins. Sometimes it is very difficult for me to stay up with everybody, especially some of the higher handicapped bowlers. Because I'm getting nothing. So I'm not really complaining about that. I mean, if I didn't want to bowl, I wouldn't bowl. I mean, I use it for practice. It doesn't cost a ton of money, and I have made some money this summer. The first one I bowled in was on June 8th. We were bowling on. I think we were bowling on. Were we bowling on bat? I think we were bowling on bat, and I averaged 183 for 4 games, 180, 210, 20, and then ran into 1 and 2. In this house, 1 and 2 is an outside wall, and it's really hot. So here's a little tidbit of information for you. So if you're bowling anything like this, and you're at an outside wall. During the winter, that outside wall is typically cold. And if it's brick or something like that, that brick stays cold for a long time. And so the lanes on 1 and 2, specifically 1, if it's right up against the wall, will play much different than lane 2. And when it's warm, when it's hot like it's been, the oil gets more viscous. It's not as thick, and it comes off the lanes a little more. It ends up on bowling balls a little bit more because it's not as viscous. It's thinner. And so typically your outside wall in the summer will hook more than the lane beside it. So in this particular case, when I was bowling on bat, one was hooking about. Now, this is a lot for me. It was hooking 6 boards different than lane 2. 6 boards with my feet and about 2.5 with my eyes. And for a low rev rate bowler like myself, that's fairly difficult. If you miss to the right and make a bad adjustment, it's not coming back. You don't have it. I don't have a chance. If I had more rev rate, I might be able to get it back from that spot, even though I missed right. But I don't. And so a miss right when there's on a sports shot is kind of death for a low rev rate bowler. If you're going to miss, you want to miss in, because I'm always looking for hold in the middle of the lane on a sports shot. And so a miss in, I've got a little bit of a chance to at least get 9. A miss right, I'm either going to leave the head pin, or I'm going to wash out or something like that. Well, long story short, or short story long, on this particular pattern that day, I finished on 1 and 2 and shot 139. So that took me, I was in first and second place pretty much for the first 3 games, and then the 139 took me out of it, which would take most people out of it. But I think I got 11th. I went from 2nd to 11th in one game. And then on Tuesday night, we bowled on another short pattern. Don't remember what the pattern was, but I know it was short. It was about 38, 39 feet, which I usually do well on because I throw a lot of urethane. And I bowled well. I averaged 201 that night. Got a check. And so I was really pleased about that. My first game was on 1 and 2 at the other center. And just struggled with the 2 different lanes. Even though I warmed up on that pair, you would think that I would have been fine since I had the opportunity to get lined up, but I wasn't. Shot 142 the first game, then 237, 225, 203, average 201 for 4 games, so I was plus. I'm pleased about that. There was only a few people, a couple other regional pros that were plus that night, and I got a check that night. And then I went on the 15th of June, so I guess that was about 9 days ago. I bowled over, and I caught 1 and 2 again. I can't get away from them. And I got a check. It was pretty difficult. It was a longer pattern, which I'm getting much better with. So us older bowlers, there's a couple of different types of older bowlers. There's older bowlers that like the gutter, like me. I love the gutter. If I can play 3, 4, 5, somewhere in that range down lane, I am just super happy. And if I can throw urethane, I'm even happier. And so short patterns tend to be my forte. Long patterns, if you can play the gutter, if the gutter is actually hooking in the house that you're bowling in, that's great. But your misses to the right tend to be fairly ugly. And if you miss to the left, it probably jumps way left and goes Brooklyn. So when I play long patterns, I've always had trouble with this because I want to play outside the gutter. So I'm wanting to get as close to the gutter as I can, which never really works out very well. So over the last year or maybe 2 years, I've decided, well, I'm just going to play long patterns on the inside part of the lane and just take my lumps, grab a big ball, big cover, big core, put some surface on it and throw it in the middle of the lane. And honestly, that's been working fairly well. But as the lanes transition and get drier, I'm having to move left into the oil in the middle part of the lane, and that opens up the opportunity for a lot of splits. Because a miss left, you're probably not going to have any hold because you've got two-handed bowlers that are just chewing that up. And the miss right's going to stay right, and so you get a lot of washouts. So I'm still learning. What I have learned and what I am consciously doing now is just really slowing down the ball speed. If I can't combat with rev rate, I'm going to combat with speed. And so I've gotten really good about slowing the ball down. And I'm going to have some videos. If we've already had one video about changing speed. I've got another one that's going to be coming out here maybe end of July, first part of August, about changing ball speeds. So if you're having trouble with that, you need to watch those videos. I will caution you, though, that what you think about changing ball speeds is probably wrong. And it will you're just going to have to trust me. And you're going to have to go in and practice it. And you're going to have to watch the video and practice what I'm talking about, because it is counterintuitive. So when that video comes out in, again, late July, probably 1st of August, just realize it's counterintuitive and you've got to practice it. It's not something that you can just whip out in league. It's a little bit more, it's not difficult to do. It's just, you've got to have the feel for it. And so on the 15th, I guess about 9 days ago, we played a long pattern, and I was up and down. 190, 130, 220, 160. I still cashed. I think I got my money back is what I did on that one. But so I was real proud of that. And then the next day on the 16th, we had another long pattern, and I crushed it. I led scratch. I led scratch, ended up 4th with handicap. Average for 4 games, I was plus 38, I think, for 4 games on a really long pattern. 46 feet, basically 2 to 1, 2.5 to 1. Pretty high volume, 31, 32 milliliters of oil, so it was a high volume. During that, again, I was playing the middle part of the lane. Sorry, I got something in my playing the middle part of the lane. I came to the realization that I needed to do a video about a sports shot, so I shot that video this week, and that video will probably come out the first part of August. How to, just to help you guys when you're going to nationals, how I view the lane and how I determine what the pattern is. And then I also brought in a higher rev rate bowler to give his insight on how he tries to figure out a pattern without knowing what it is. And so hopefully between both of us, you will get some ideas about how to go to nationals and where to throw it in practice to kind of determine what the pattern is and how long it is. Because really, when you're looking at a sports shot, there's only a couple of things that I'm interested in. I'm interested, if I'm going to look at a graph, I'm going to look at how long it is, how far it's being brushed to, how much volume is in the pattern, and what the ratio is. And those are the three things I look at. Those three things are going to give me an idea of where to play on the lane. I use a rule called the rule of 31, that you just take the length of the pattern and subtract 31, and that'll give you a board at that distance that you need to be looking for, or somewhere in that area to get the ball to down lane. And then you just find out where on the approach and where at the arrows you need to be to get the ball to that spot and for it to hook and find the pocket. And again, that video will come out end of July, 1st of August, something like that, about how to look at a sports shot. I realize that video is coming out mainly after Nationals is pretty close to being over, but maybe a few of you guys will still be bowling there. I don't even know when Nationals ends. I am not bowling it this year because of my shoulder. Anyway, don't have a lot of people on today, but if you have a question for me, feel free to ask it, and in any of my videos, ask it. One of the other things I'm going to go through today, and it's this common question that everybody has when they come new to the channel. So I need to throw in another video about it. People look at me when I'm throwing my shots down the lane. They notice I'm 2.5, 3 feet from the foul line, and I get at least one question a week about that. Why I do that? Well, here's the explanation. So about 8 years ago, I had surgery on my left knee, and when I came back to bowling, I was scared. Let's be honest. The pain was pretty excruciating before. Had the surgery, wasn't really sure what I was going to get, so I was scared. And so I took little tiny choppy steps, and I wanted enough room between me and the foul line that if my leg could not hold me up, that I could fall forward, I could, move around, and I wouldn't foul, because I didn't want to foul. And what I noticed was during that time that my ball roll wasn't bad. It was actually pretty good. And so as I got more comfortable and getting closer and closer to the foul line, my ball roll was not rolling in the right spot. The ball was going way too far down the lane, and I was getting 7-10 splits. I was leaving a ton of wrap 10s because I have a lot of ball speed. My ball speed is not a problem. I'm always working on trying to keep my ball speed lower. But I don't have a whole lot of rev rate. So I'm very speed dominant, and so I had to try to throw the ball a little bit slower. And even being that close to the foul line, trying to throw the ball slower, the ball was not rolling in the right spot. It was skidding, it was hooking, but sometimes it wouldn't even roll at all. And so During that, I went, well, my ball rolled a whole lot better when I was a little further from the foul line. So I started inching my way back from the foul line and found a spot. It's 2.5, 3 feet, never measured it, from the foul line where I'm giving the ball enough time to hook. There's also another thing going on here, which is I'm 6'4", fairly long arms, not really long legs. So I have a long swing arc, and that long swing arc does cause me to have pretty decent ball speed if I want it. Just in a normal pendulum swing, my swing arc is a little bit longer. It's kind of the same way in golf. Being taller, my swing arc when I played golf was longer, and so I had pretty good club head speed. Well, I've got pretty good ball speed with my bowling ball, not even trying very hard. Matter of fact, the more I relax, the faster the ball goes. So, not only that, but I didn't have my knee bend had kind of gone away, and I always coach, and we're going to talk about this here in just a second, about being a little more upright at the foul line. So I'm 6'4", decent arms, a lot of speed, no knee bend, virtually no knee bend, and I'm pretty upright, fairly upright at the foul line. So now my ball has a lot of distance to travel to go from my hand to the lane. Well, if I throw it too close to me down on the lane, the ball bounces. It's almost like I'm jamming it into the lane. And it doesn't matter what house I'm in. If I let the ball go to release the ball near the foul line, the ball just bounces. So I've got to have a little bit of loft to get the ball to settle on the lane softer. It's not really a loft, it's more of an angle towards the lane, but it's out a little ways. Well, if I'm up near the foul line, that loft almost goes halfway to the arrows. And that just makes the ball not have as much room to hook. So I really want to lay the ball down somewhere before the dots, before that first row of dots that you see on, not the first row of dots, but the second row of dots beyond the first row of dots beyond the foul line. That's kind of where I want the ball to land. That way it lands a little softer and won't bounce. And to do that, I've got to be about 2.5, 3 feet from the foul line to get the ball to that spot with my natural loft and my natural height and be being upright. Now, I said I would go over this about being upright. So I have had a argument, a discussion with a gentleman in the comments about spine tilt. So let's start with bowlers that are over 50 years old. Spine tilt. You're going to have some natural spine tilt, and if you want to get some decent speed on the bowling ball, as you put your balance arm in front of you, right there in front of you, that turns your shoulders this way. So opening up your shoulders and turning your shoulders in your backswing is extremely handy for generating additional power. Keeping your shoulders closed off the whole way detracts from that power, and I see a lot of bowlers over 50 who just don't want to open up their shoulders enough. And so now they've really cut down on their swing speed of their swing itself. To make up for it, they would have to go really fast with their feet, and we're over 50, we're just not going to do that. So when you open your shoulders, there is some automatic spine tilt going forward. But I want to limit that as much as possible. I don't know what the degrees are, but maybe 30 degrees, 35 degrees of spine tilt moving forward. Keeping your head stationary is probably enough spine tilt to be able to clear your body when on your downswing. Now, the gentleman in the comments is saying 90 degrees. Well, I mean, if you're looking at Simonson, yeah, he has 90 degrees of spine tilt. If you look at Belmo, he has maybe 15 or 20. He is 15 to 20 degrees. He is pretty upright when he releases the ball. I'm looking at, like one of the best bowling swings ever is Tommy Jones. And Tommy Jones, has maybe 45 degrees of spine tilt going forward. But all of those guys, no matter who they are, other than Simonson, you look at E.J. Tackett, you look at Bill O'Neill, Chris Prather, all of those guys do not have a ton of spine tilt. They're pretty upright when they release the ball. They have some. They do have some, but they're not completely upright. But they're not 90 degrees either. They're not parallel to the floor. And by doing that and keeping your chin up and your head up and your chest up, it allows you to close those shoulders down and not them getting overclosed. And if you have too much spine tilt, your shoulder goes down. And when your shoulder goes down, if you just hold your arm to the side and put your chest down, now your thumb goes down. And when your thumb goes down, now you've got a few other problems. You're either going to miss it left, you're going to miss it right, you're going to be very inaccurate. You cannot change the distance between your head and your shoulder. It's just impossible to do. So if you're moving your head down, the shoulders have got to go with it. So you want to keep your head up, your chin up, and open and close those shoulders, but not overclose those shoulders so you're pulling the ball to the left, or if you're left-handed, pulling it to the right. And getting those shoulders square when you release the ball. That's kind of the key there, and it's really hard to do with too much spine tilt. Now we'll talk about knee bend, which I have very little knee bend, and I think you just have to be athletic. You've got to have an athletic stance when you release the ball. I don't think you need a ton of knee bend to be successful. Now, I have very little knee bend, which causes me to have to loft the ball, like we were talking about earlier. And I wish I had a little bit more, because I'd love to be able to release the ball a little closer to the floor. But I'm doing pretty good with very little knee bend, very high chest. I just focus on keeping my head stationary, my chin up, looking at my target, and my head not moving all over the place. We're going to have more videos about that. We've already had a video about keeping your head stationary and keeping your chest up and keeping your chin up. And the reason why I say keep your chin up, if you keep your chin up, you're going to keep your chest up. Sometimes it depends on who I'm coaching. If I tell them to keep their chest up, they may get it, they may not. If I tell them to keep their chin up, their chest will follow. And so sometimes I say chin up or chest up. Just kind of depends on how people learn. But I do think that's important, and keeping the head stationary. It's hard to hit a target when your head's moving around. I mean, you wouldn't do that with a gun. You wouldn't do it with a bow and arrow. You wouldn't do it with anything. You're going to keep your head still. That way you can focus on your target. So the gentleman that I've been arguing with, I'm not real sure we're talking about the same thing, because I don't think anybody wants 90 degrees of spine tilt. And if you look at the guys behind me right now, even Zach Wilkins right there, who, I'll move my head out of the way, he's going to throw a shot. He has a lot of spine tilt, but when he releases that ball, it's about 45 degrees. Two-handers tend to have a little bit more spine tilt than one-handers, because they've got that other hand on the ball, and they are trying to get the ball closer to the floor when they release it. So he has quite a bit of spine tilt, but he is two-handed. So let's watch him throw another shot back here. You can see him behind me here. He's up, up, up. Now, then he goes down and then pops his head up. That would be one of the things that I would say Zach needs to work on, is keeping that head a little more stationary. Looking at Simonson, looking at Belmo, they keep their head very still through their shot. He kind of pops out of it just a little bit, but he pops out of it after he releases the ball, which makes it not as affect him as much. So there's my 2 cents on that, and I hope I've covered that fairly well. Since I've done a live, we've had a few videos coming out. I redid and recut my stupid exercise video. All right, speaking of Bill O'Neill, there he is. Watch him. He's going to stick his chin up to start. That's kind of how he gets started, and he keeps that chin high, and that is not 90 degrees, folks. That's about 30 or 35 degrees. The big four is no fun, but if you notice, one of the things that he focuses on in his stance is getting that chin up. He protrudes that chin out, and so, yeah, that's pretty upright. That's not 90 degrees. And I would say Bill O'Neill has one of the best swings in the game. He's one of my favorite bowlers, if not my favorite bowler. I'm always rooting for the real deal Bill O'Neill. Anyway, so I recut the old exercises for old people. Again, that was just meant to be funny. It didn't get a whole lot of traction. Not some of my better videos, I guess. I thought they were funny, but I guess nobody else did. And then after that, we had a video about the setup. If you haven't seen that video, it's hard to finish correctly if you don't get set up correctly. So I think that video is very important. Getting set up, where to position the ball. I have been doing a little more research and some talking with some other coaches about a few things that I teach. Most of that's the things that I teach. I want to compare them to the USBC book on coaching. And they teach one way, but I've talked with a few other coaches that might disagree with them of where the ball needs to be placed in your setup. So I'm going to continue to research that and see how I feel about the ball placement. And we're really talking about inches here. I always like the ball between the seam in your shoulder and your chin, and the ball sitting in, it's always backwards. It's sitting in this spot between my shoulder, and so the ball is finishing here. I've talked with a few coaches that like that ball a little closer to your shoulder, so off your chin just a little bit, but not getting outside that seam on your shoulder on your shirt. So we're really talking 2 or 3 inches, but I'm going to continue to investigate that and do some more research and watch the pros, because if you're going to watch anybody and change anything that you're doing, as a coach, we want to watch the guys that are doing it the best. And obviously the pros are the best in the game, and so that's who I look to. Then after the setup, we talked about head alignment. We've already gone over that here. I guess that's where that video was, and getting your head aligned, and your chin up, your chest up, but also when you finish, where everything needs to be in proximity to each other. So if your head is to the right of your slide knee, you're going to be falling off to your right. If your head is to the left of your knee, slide knee, you're going to be falling off to the left. You're going to want some flex in that knee, but if you can get your head directly above your knee, you're going to be balanced. And then you don't want your knee cap in front of your toe, and you don't want your head in front of your kneecap. So getting the head aligned left to right, but also up and down. You don't want to be too far forward where your head is in front of your knee. Now you're leaning forward. You don't want it too far back from your knee, because now you're leaning backwards. And you don't want your knee in front of your toe, because, when you're 50 years old, let's talk about injury. and getting your knee in front of your toe when you slide does bring in injury to the mix. And after head alignment, we had a new drill. It's something I've created. It was called No Strikes Allowed. Love this video, love this drill. I came up with this drill because I was coaching my high schoolers, getting them ready for the state competition, and the guys can strike. The girls, you know, they need to work on their spares, but so does everybody else. But the guys could strike. So that wasn't the problem. What I was having trouble getting them to do is through a practice session, they're striking so much that they're not shooting any spares. And because they're not shooting at any spares, it's hard to practice those. And kids just love to throw rocks down the lane, and they love to strike and all that kind of stuff. But I was looking for a game, something they could do that would still be fun, that they could work on their spares. They hate low ball, absolutely hate it. And so I didn't want to do that to them. So I came up with this new game called No Strikes Allowed. So when you bowl, what you're trying to do is get 9. That's your goal. And so I guess it does help you with your strike shot. Just trying to get 9. If you got 9 spare in every frame in a game, that's a 190 game. And so that's your high score is 190. If you can get 9 spare in every frame, that's 190. So trying to get them to get 9 and pick up their spares. If they strike, it doesn't count. They have to erase it. If they strike 3 times in one frame, that's 0. They would get 0 for that frame. So that made them not be able to sit there and strike. And I based who we started in one tournament that we had based on how they did in that game, what they shot in that game. They didn't like that at all, but we want bowlers who can spare. 8-baggers are great, but you don't have them all the time. 7-baggers, 6-baggers, 5-baggers, you just don't have them all the time. You're going to have more spares in general than you will strikes. And if you can't spare, that's a huge problem. So even with bowlers that I coach, and you guys, I talk about spares all the time. I'm not the greatest spare shooter in the world, but I'm worse on camera than I am in real life. Well, that may be not true either. I think I'm worse in league than I am on camera sometimes. In practice, I'm perfect. But I do everybody has challenges with spares. You've got to be fairly accurate. And so always looking for new ways to stay engaged in my practice session and do things to help me spare better. And so I came up with this game, No Strikes Allowed. Can't get any strike. All you can do is spare and see what you can shoot in a game. And in that video, you'll see that I got 0 in a frame. I'm trying to get 9, and I strike twice. I bring out my spare ball and just going to throw it. Was hoping to throw it Brooklyn to try to leave maybe a 5-pin or a 9-pin or something like that, and hoping not to strike. I ended up flush in the pocket and struck. And so I got 0 for that frame. It's a great drill. Give it a try. It's fun. It's more fun than low ball, but I do have a lot of drills, a lot of games that I play. I've got now this No Strikes Allowed. I've got low ball, and I've got leave the head pin, which I think I have done in a video really early on when I started this channel. So I'll probably redo that at some point in time. It's actually my favorite thing to do, which is leave the head pin. So got 2 shots to try to leave nothing but the head pin. So I tell people the goal is to try to pick up the 3, 6, 9, 10. And then that should leave things on the left side that you can pick up the 2, 4, the 2, 4, 7, the 2, 4, 8. Hopefully that 5-pin gets demolished when you pick up when you take the 3, 6, 9, 10 off. Hopefully that 5 pin goes away. But then if you don't, getting creative enough to try to leave nothing but the head pin in 2 shots. And on average, I do it about 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4 times. Love that game. It's kind of one of my favorites. I'd still play low ball too, because 7s and 10s are the corner pins. They shouldn't be the most difficult, but they are. And then we've had a couple other videos since then. Symmetrical versus asymmetrical. That video got a lot of response. Of course, my latest video, I did a symmetrical versus asymmetrical. Asymmetrical, and kind of explaining the differences and why they do what they do. Asymmetricals tend to be more angular, and symmetrical balls tend to be smoother in general, just because of the way their cores are designed. And then I did a video right after that, which was pearl versus solid, and which ball hooks more. They hook the same, they just hook differently, and so tried to explain that. And that one actually has done very well. It's a good video. And then the one that I guess that's the one that just recently came out. Got one coming out tomorrow about how to surface your bowling ball, but more importantly, why to surface your bowling ball. Surface, meaning changing the surface of your bowling ball, sanding it one way or the other, either shining it up or dulling it down, and why you would do that. And then after that, we'll have a video it's another spare video, and nobody ever likes to watch spare videos, but again, the quickest way to raise your average is to add 1 spare per game. If you can add 1 spare per game, you're going to raise your average 10 pins. 10 pins by 1 spare a game. So picking up your spares is very important. So I've got a really interesting video about, so I talk about how I throw at spares, and I throw straight at everything, and how I throw straight by keeping my fingers above the equator and releasing the ball is straight up with my palm up as much as possible. And people really struggle with understanding that. So I've given you a video on how to feel that. So that one will be coming out next week. I'm excited about that one. I'm sure it will not be one of the most watched videos I have, because nobody likes to shoot at spares. But if you do those things in that video, if you try them, I guarantee you will become a better spare shooter. It's a money-back guarantee that you will become a better spare shooter if you follow the instructions in that video that'll be coming out next week about how to roll the ball straight. And practice the drill. If you do it, I guarantee you will get better at your spares. Which I guess means I need to work on it a little bit more. Well, we don't have anybody chatting with me. Nobody has any questions. They're just listening to me ramble. So I'll go a little bit longer. And I'll probably try to get a little more consistent about these lives. Again, I do these lives just so you know that I'm a real person, that I do have another job other than YouTube. I would go broke if I was just doing YouTube. I do want to talk about this for just a second. And if you made it this far in this video, I really appreciate it. I am not doing these videos to make money. I am monetized, and I am making a little bit of money on these. I mean, I'd love to make enough just to continue to upgrade my equipment, to upgrade some of the things that I'm doing, but I'm not here. I've got several businesses. I'm fine financially. I do this because I love bowling. I love to teach. I love to coach. I like working with the kids. I love getting in the center and working with people and teaching them. I love the camps and the clinics that I do. I just love to teach. And I started this channel because bowlers that are over 50 years old, I believe on YouTube, are very underserved. You can watch Brad and Kyle and the House Bowling and the 220 Average Bowler and Beef and Barnsey, and you can get a ton of great information from all those channels. I mean, I watch them. I mean, Brad and Kyle is one of my favorite channels. I love watching them. But when they start coaching, some of the things resonate. Some of them are more difficult for somebody that are over 50 years old. So what I wanted to do is take some of the things that they were teaching and apply them to people that are my age, which now has turned out that a lot of beginning bowlers are finding the channel, and those things are also resonating with them because, you know, some of the things that these bowlers do with their hand, with their bodies that are younger, even the younger beginning bowlers have trouble doing. So they got to start somewhere, and they're just beginning bowlers and bowlers over 50, I felt, were just underserved. And so I wanted to get out and do this. I thought it would be fun, and I have a blast. 2 videos a week might be a little much. I'm doing that just to kind of get started. I don't want to get burned out on these things. I still have a lot of videos. I have a huge list. And feel free also in the comments to, you know, if you want me to do a video on something, please ask. And I'll try to work it in. I've got a long list of things that I want to go through, but if there's things that you want to know, I mean, we had a comment recently, well, not recently, within the last few weeks about applying tape in your thumb hole. Well, I haven't done a video on that. I haven't done a video on surfacing your bowling ball. And it's not important how to do it. It's sanding wood is it's a similar process, but it's why. Why do we surface our bowling ball? Why do you go to a sports shot tournament and watch guys grab Avalon pads and start turning their bowling balls into snow tires? Why do you do that? Why take a shiny ball and put sandpaper on it? Why do you take a dull ball and put sandpaper on it but make it look more shiny? Why do you put polish on it? Why do you do those kind of things? And so videos like that I think are important for you guys, so you understand the why. I'll also show you the how, but the why I think is just as important. So hopefully I'm relatable. Hopefully you're getting something out of it. You may not be able to do or want to do everything that I'm suggesting, but maybe you're finding little nuggets. So I want to say truly, for those that are watching, thank you. It's made me very proud that people are watching. They're getting better. I had somebody comment just the other day that they've raised their average 10 pins because of watching my videos. That makes me very happy. I'm glad I'm helping, and that's what makes me excited. That's why I'm doing this, is to help you get better. If we don't get any more comments, I think we're going to shut this thing off here in just a little bit. I'm going to see if, all right. But if you have any, we're going to be off the air in about 8 to 10 minutes here. I've been sitting here talking, yammering for about an hour. Hopefully you're also liking my shorts. If you haven't been watching my short videos, the ones that are more upright and not vertical, I'm starting to do some funnier things. People have told me that the stuff I cut, the stuff that when I make mistakes, is more funny than anything I do in my videos. So I've been taking some of those short, some of my mistakes, some of my goofiness, because I am goofy. There's no doubt I'm goofy. And when I make a mistake, I tend to do some weird things on the lanes, and I've been cutting those into smaller videos. I think they're funny. Got a couple, we shot some videos yesterday with some other folks, and something pretty funny happened to one of my friends, and that one will come out, I believe, next Friday as a short. He wasn't real happy that I put it in there, but he'll survive. He's going to live. And then you'll get to see some of my dancing because I do that a lot. In league, I do that all the time. Me and my league partners, we're just goofy. We have celebration dances for different things. So, gotta make it fun. Guys, bowling's supposed to be fun. I am enjoying the new bowlers that are coming to the channel, that are watching and trying to apply these things to their game. And so, those guys, I'm glad you guys are there and doing that, but also have fun, because bowling is fun. You're throwing a rock at pins, trying to knock pins down, and the best part about it is they send the ball back to you. You don't have to go chasing after it, and I love that part of it. And just, it's activity, it's out there, it's community, it's social, and can be competitive, and all of those kind of things are fun. And so bowling is fun. I'm doing this so you can get better, because the better you are, the more fun you have. And so get out there, get some practice in, try some of my things, see if they work. I probably need to put this comment right here in most of my videos, and I may start doing that, is if you've been bowling for a while and you feel like you're doing something incorrectly the way I have been instructing it or doing it, and you're wanting to try something different, it is going to get worse before it gets better. But I don't believe that I'm saying anything incorrectly. I check with other coaches on what I'm saying and how I am coaching, and I have great respect for some of the coaches that are helping me put these videos out. And so I don't feel like I'm saying anything wrong. So it may get worse, but stick with it. It will get worse before it gets better. So keep working, keep trying. All right, well, since we don't have any comments, and really not that many people watching, but I'm glad for the ones that actually stayed, I'm going to try to get a little bit more consistent with this. Give me a little bit more time, and I will try to be doing this on Wednesdays at 6 o'clock. I felt like 5:30 was a little early, so Wednesdays at 6 makes a little bit more sense. And I'm doing it from my office, which means I've got to go home after this. But thank you guys for watching Bowling Over 50. Oh, last thing. You're probably not going to see this, but last thing. In the community section of YouTube, I have got a post up there right now about possibly changing the name of this channel from Bowling Over 50 to something else. I will, within the next month, I will post another poll there with 3 or 4 potential new names for Bowling Over 50. And the reason why I'm doing that is, yes, I started this channel for bowlers that are my age, lower ball speed, lower rev rate bowlers, but with all the new bowlers coming to the channel, the name just doesn't fit really well. A lot of people are saying I should just leave it the same, Bowling Over 50. But I've had also some really good names. Bowling Basics with Burger is one that kind of comes up. Burger's Bowling, Burger Bowling and Beyond. There's been some other names, alliterations, which I do enjoy. I do think it needs to have bowling in the name. So if you have any ideas for a name change, go find that in the community tab on YouTube and post what you think I need to change the name to. And then I will do a poll. And whatever wins that poll will probably be the new name of this channel. So it may not be Bowling Over 50. I've got new graphics that you can see right there. Right behind me, got new graphics for Bowling Over 50, but we'll come up with something for whatever the new name is. So with that, I think I'm going to bid you a fine adieu. I hope you guys are bowling well. Hope you guys are still bowling this summer. Summertime's a great time to get some practice in, so get out on the lanes. I want you guys to have fun and good bowling.